David here with Figboot on Pens, back again with another fountain pen review. A couple of weeks ago, I reviewed an artistic luxury offering from David Oscarson. During that review, I mentioned that David had sent 2 pens for me to take a look at. And since I need to get these pens back to him at the upcoming DC show, then you are getting the review of the second pen right now. Speaking of the DC show, if you happen to be attending on the Saturday of the show at noon, I will be giving a presentation as well as having a live Q&A session, so that if you will be in attendance, I would love to see you then. I did one of these seminars last year and it was a lot of fun. Okay, let's get to the pen at hand. And I will say that there is some general information that I'll be repeating from the most recent review of the David Oscarson Art Nouveau pen, because it still applies to this pen I have for you today. And I don't want to just keep saying, hey, go check out the other review. But the intriguing pen that I will be sharing today is David's tribute to the engineer, futurist, and inventor Nikola Tesla. What I am going to do today is go over the parts and features of this electric offering, talk about what I care for and what I don't care for about it. I'll show some measurements, size comparisons, as well as provide a writing sample. I always appreciate it when I can do a writing sample of a high-end luxury offering. Big thanks to David Oscarson for that, as well as for providing this pen on loan for review. In order to get a closer look at this pen, please join me over here at camera 2. Okay, the pen arrives in this very nice box. If you are not familiar with David Oscarson, he is based out of St. Louis, Missouri. He spent some time of his youth in Stockholm, Sweden, and then began his career in the diamond business and later worked in the retail industry. He personally designs each of his pens and has a team of British goldsmiths, silversmiths, and artisans over in the UK who produce each of his collections. His collections have various themes, generally revolving around historical events or personalities. They've been about 40. This particular series here is called the Koi. And there's a number of different colors in each of the series. I'm only showing one here in the examples. This one here is called the Sancta Lucia and is inspired by one of the earliest Scandinavian Christian saints. And this model here is called the Alfred Bernard Nobel, who is famous for the invention of dynamite, which is represented on the barrel, as well as the founding of the Nobel Prize, which is given out in numerous categories, with the Doves of Peace being represented on the cap of this pen. Okay, inside this box we have a few things. I know it barely fits here. First of all, there is an extensive brochure showing all of his models, which is actually very nice. If you are a fan of his work, then the brochure alone is just a nice catalog to have. And there's even the Tesla. I saw the Tesla model. That's okay. We'll show it here in just a second, but it's a really nice brochure. And then there is a branded polishing cloth, which will come in handy since this pen is made from solid sterling silver. There is a certificate of authenticity. And then inside, first of all, I really like it when the boxes have a folded front like this, just so you can easily access the actual box. And this is what the actual really nice box looks like. And inside, we have a couple of things. First of all, the pen is inside of this nice felt case. Felt sleeve. We'll set that aside for a second. Under the tray, we have a few things. There are some blue and black cartridges. There is a glass eyedropper, as well as an O-ring and a stick pin. I'll explain the stick pin and the O-ring here in a bit. The Nikola Tesla model comes in a number of varieties, and I'll just cycle through some of them here. They don't have unique names. The names are essentially just descriptions of the colors of the pen. But as you can see, there are some very nice color combinations. And the model that I have for you today is one that wasn't pictured, which is the dark green. Or it might be called something like the forest green, but it is, as you can see, a darker green. As with most of David Oscarson's pens, there is a lot going on with this model, and it is chock full of symbolism, which I always enjoy in my pens. To begin with, this pen is made from solid sterling silver and incorporates hard enamel over guilloche engraving. That artisans use a mortar and pestle to grind down a composition of glass and water and metal oxides. The water is removed, leaving a fine paste, which is the basis for the hard enamel. A quill is then used to apply each coat of the mixture to the surface of the metal, ensuring the entire guilloche area is completely covered in enamel. The pen is then fired into a furnace at temperatures exceeding 1,000 degrees, fusing the enamel to the metal and forming a layer of glass. After cooling, the pieces are manually ground with a diamond file, restoring their proper shape and surface. This tedious process is repeated at length until the level of enamel reaches the depth required to cover the peaks and fill the valleys of each intricate guilloche pattern. When the final stages of firing are completed, the pieces are polished and buffed, revealing the velvet finish of translucent hard enamel. The production of translucent hard enamel like this demands a very high level of patience, experience, and skill, and the craftsmen who create these pens in the UK factory have decades of experience. Okay, this pen is a tribute to Nikola Tesla, and there are many elements of this pen which are inspired by his life's work. Tesla was born in the country which is now known as Croatia back in 1856. He was an engineer, a futurist, and an inventor, and most widely known for his contributions to the design of the modern AC electrical supply system we use today. This is a limited edition of 86 units, which is how old Tesla was when he died back in 1943. Okay, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the parts and features of this unique offering. Here on the top of the cap, this is a finial which contains the formula for a unit of Tesla, or a Tesla unit, which is a unit of measure for magnetic induction or magnetic flux. Then we have the clip. Let me see how close I can get here. The clip represents the Wardenclyffe Tower, which was also known as the Tesla Tower, which was an early experimental wireless transmission station designed and built by Tesla on Long Island in 1901. Then beneath the clip, engraved in low relief, is a Tesla coil. In Carmen parlance, a Tesla coil are the big metal round things that colorful electricity shoots out of. And I think they did a really good job of representing that here with the deep guilloche and the crackling electrical bolts. It certainly brings this pen to life. I just really like those bolts, and then you can see the underlying guilloche. I just think it's an interesting look, especially when it's punctuated by that tower there right in the middle. It's as if it's causing it. Here on the back of the cap, we have a couple of different things. Tesla was famously very eccentric. Among his quirks was a fondness for pigeons. He would spend hours a week feeding the pigeons in New York and would routinely take home any which were injured so he could nurse them back to health. He would keep his windows open while at hotels so pigeons could fly in and visit him whenever they wished. His friends kind of found this passion for pigeons a bit perplexing since he was a well-known germaphobe. Tesla never married, but he once admitted to falling in love with a very special white pigeon that visited him regularly. It's documented that he said, "I loved that pigeon as much as a man loves a woman, and she loved me. As long as I had her, there was a purpose to my life." He was indeed a very eccentric character. Then at the bottom of the cap, it's a little hard to see here, but right here, there is an X-ray of Tesla's hand. Let me see if I can kind of get it here at an angle. You can see it a little bit better here. Tesla experimented with using low levels of radiation for what he called shadow graphs. He was an early advocate of using this technology for medical use. Here's an early picture he took of his foot inside of his shoe. I think that the heel on that shoe had been repaired many, many times. And then here is an X-ray he took of his hand, which is depicted on the pen. On the band, it is engraved with David Oscarson and his company logo. And then here are the hallmarks back here. The lion representing this is sterling silver, the 925 indicating the silver content. The leopard's head represents London, and the X indicating the date of 2022. And then the symbol to the far right is one that celebrated the Platinum Jubilee of Queen Elizabeth II, which celebrated the 70th anniversary of her ascension to the throne. Okay, I told you there was a lot going on with this pen. There is a rather large step down from the cap to the barrel, which begins with a representation of an AC magnetic field. I'm not going off on another long sidetrack here, but Tesla was an advocate of the AC electrical transmission system we use today. Below that, we have Tesla's signature prominently displayed in high relief here on the barrel. I do like the subtle use of guilloche in the background on this barrel. And then here at the end of this barrel, we have a symbol that represents Tesla's dynamic theory of gravity, which explained the relation between gravitation and electromagnetic force. And then here at the end of the barrel, it is punctuated by another black insert. The cap twists off with just under 2 rotations, and underneath we have a number 6 18-karat gold Jovo nib. It is stamped with the David Oscarson logo. You really can't see the ink on here, but the pen is indeed inked up with what I feel is an appropriately named ink. Maybe leave me a guess in the comments as to what you think it might be, or leave me your own suggestion as to what ink you would put in this pen that relates to Tesla. The section does begin with a large raised ring. Like the rest of the pen, it is sterling silver. While typically I would find a metal section to be slippery and uncomfortable, this one here is engraved with a couple of drawings of Tesla's designs. One is of an AC generator and one is of an induction motor. These engravings look nice, as well as do a good job of helping you maintain a solid grip on this heavy pen. Speaking of weight, let's go ahead and weigh this pen. Let's have this on here, and you can see overall this is a fairly heavy pen. It comes in at just under 91 grams. The cap itself comes in at 43, and then the barrel is at 47. So the cap is virtually the same, or pretty close to being the same weight as the rest of the body. Just as a comparison, the Classic Pens LB5, which is essentially a Sailor King of Pens, that one comes in at 40 grams for the entire pen. Okay, the cap isn't really designed to post. It kind of sits on here, but it's not secure. Plus, this cap is so heavy that you're not going to want to use this pen posted. While it is hefty, I wouldn't describe the overall weight while you are writing with it to be burdensome. I enjoy a heavier pen, which this certainly is. While I do find the cap threads to be a bit sharp, they sit far enough back that they don't bother my grip at all. And overall, the pen feels really great in the hand. It feels very substantive, which I like. This is a cartridge converter pen. It does accept standard international cartridges, as I showed, a number of which are provided, and you can use the provided converter as well. Now, you might have noticed an O-ring here at the end of the section. With this pen being 100% sterling silver, if you so desire, you could also eyedropper this pen, and that is where the pen and additional O-ring come into play. If you choose to eyedropper this pen, you'll need to install that second O-ring. There is a video on the David Oscarson site which shows how to do this, but this O-ring needs to be removed if you would care to use a cartridge or a converter. I have a feeling if you owned this pen, you would have a preferred method of inking it up, so you'd only need to install the O-ring once. You're probably not going to be switching back and forth. The David Oscarson Nikola Tesla model is available at a number of retailers, as well as the David Oscarson website. I'll put a link to it in the notes below this video. The retail price for this pen is $6,400. As with most high-end luxury pens like this, this pen is a functional piece of art. You are not just purchasing a pen, you are purchasing a story. Something that you can enjoy using, but if you pull out this pen with others around, it's something that will garner some attention. This pen certainly does make a statement. Now, when you're talking about if a luxury pen is quote unquote worth the price, that is something that is highly subjective. For one person, they might not see the value in this pen, but for someone else, especially someone who might be a fan of Nikola Tesla's work, this pen might be very well worth the cost. It is extremely well made by highly skilled craftsmen and has a unique theme and a unique look, and also has some unique, interesting historical elements and even a couple of little Easter eggs. And in the end, as you will see here in a moment, it performs very nicely as well. So I can appreciate this pen. Okay, let's take a look at some size comparisons. So first up, we had the other pen from David Oscarson I reviewed, which was the Art Nouveau. And then this is what it looks like with a Montblanc 149. And then here it is with a Sailor King of Pen Pro Gear. And then in regard to a couple of other larger pens, here it is with a Pelikan M1000. Here it is with that classic Pens LB5 you saw earlier. And then here it is with a Pilot Custom Urushi. In regard to some uncapped comparisons, here it is with the Montblanc 149. Then here it is with that Custom Urushi. I'm almost off the screen there. And then here it is with the Pelikan M1000. Okay, here we go with the writing sample for the David Oscarson. And this is the Nikola Tesla. This is a medium 18 karat gold nib. And the ink that I'm using here, which I thought was appropriate, which is one of my favorite blues, which is Ackerman Shocking Blue. This is what the ink looks like. It's a nice saturated blue with a nice bit of kind of red sheen to it. This is another one I considered, which is the Private Reserve Electric DC Blue, which is very heavily saturated. And then this is what it looks like with Robert Oster's Admiral Blue. This is what the Ackerman bottles look like. They're one of my favorite ink bottles, and it's hard to see in here because I just twisted it around, but I'm very low on ink in here. And so I think at the upcoming DC show, I might need to try to pick up a bottle. But this is one of my favorite bottle designs. I just think it looks cool, and the functionality of it is neat as well. There is a little ball in here that is difficult to see right now. You can basically pour ink into this upper chamber. The little marble prevents the ink from going back down, and so you can fill just about any pen with a significant portion of the ink that's up here. It's just a very functional design, and I think it looks cool as well. And here we go with the rest of the writing sample. This 18 karat gold nib is very nice. You can get a decent amount of line variation here by pushing it just a little bit. I will say that the ink flow is rather generous on this. As you can see here, it took a while to dry. And in regard to some reverse writing, I wouldn't necessarily say that's what this specific nib is best at. Reverse writing. I guess reverse would be back in the normal way, which is what we'll do for the fast writing. Yeah, I'm really liking this 18 karat gold nib. It really punctuates the luxury aspect of this particular pen. It just provides a really nice writing experience. So there we have the David Oscarson Nikola Tesla model. I just think that there's a lot going on here. I think it looks really nice. And I just like the historical aspects and the element of symbolism that are built into here as well. Okay, until next time, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you later.